Okay, this ring light gives disgraceful levels of radiation. Absolutely disgraceful. I should not be using it, but pretty sums my life up in a nutshell. I shouldn't be doing it. Pretty though. So, came online to discuss a random thought. I was thinking about the state of the world because, you know, ADHD with nothing really to do because I'm not doing online readings that much. Well, it's not that I have nothing to do. It's just that I have a lot to mull over, so I'm resting. I've been thinking a lot about the state of the world, and a random thought popped into my mind. What happens when gang stalking ends? Now, a lot of people have asked me, will gang stalking end? And I have said no. What I mean by that is that gang stalking will end, but it is not going to end in this lifetime. Gang stalking will end, it just will not end now. It will end at some point when enough people have been genocided. That's when it'll end. Okay, but not before then. And the reason I think that is because I have to judge things by results. If us TIs truly wanted gang stalking to end, there is nothing that we wouldn't do. Even in our broken state, even with our broken bodies, broken minds, broken whatever, there is nothing that we wouldn't do to stop it. Even if it was dangerous, even if it was morally reprehensible, we would do whatever it took to make sure it stopped. No, we don't want gang stalking to end. What we really want is to have our pain acknowledged by people who are just like us. And I know that because that's exactly what we've been able to achieve. Fellowship. We know each other. We know each other's names. We know, you know, especially over here in the UK, the TIs are pretty tight-knit. Everybody knows each other. What TIs wanted more than anything was ironically exactly what gang stalking was supposed to take away from us and failed to do so. Fellowship. When you want something so badly, you will do anything to get it. And TIs, if we really wanted it to stop, it would have stopped. Iron will is a thing. If we wanted it to stop, it would have stopped. Gang stalking will end. But not because of us. Not because of us. It will end because of the same people who are murdering us right now. And apart from the fact that, you know, we haven't done anything and everything to stop it, you know, because we've done anything and everything within our own comfort, and whilst we've been doing that, people have been dying. So we don't want the gang stalking to stop, really, because if we did, we'd end it by any means necessary. But the reason why I bring that up is, A, we don't want gang stalking to stop because of the fellowship thing, and B, when gang stalking does end, it won't end because of justice. It will end because there is no longer any money in it. That's when it will end. It will end when there's no longer any money in gang stalking. It's getting there. It's not there yet. It's getting there. And I think instead of the second thing being that, you know, gang stalking will be ended by monetary interests, I think I hit upon a real point as to the question that I want to ask all TIs earnestly. What happens if you win? What happens if money doesn't end gang stalking, but you do? What happens when you get what you want? What happens when gang stalking finally stops and people stop being tortured within their own communities, stop being killed within their own communities? What happens when we win? And what plans do we have in place for when we do win? Because the way I see it is this. Like I said, I believe gang stalking will end not because of us, but because of money. But if it ended because of us, I see it happening in one of two ways, or one of three ways. The best case scenario, and the most unlikely one, is that every family, every man, woman, and child who has been targeted by this program will be compensated fully. And when I say fully, I mean they will be compensated with the money that they were insured with. Because as subjects of experimentation, there is going to be insurance on us. There's going to be insurance on every subject of experimentation. All the weapons used to target us, you know, all the coupons and stuff that fucking gang stalkers are paid with, like every single thing that is used against us is insured. There is no way that it isn't. So best case scenario, which is the most unlikely, is that every man, woman, and child who was a target of this program would be fully compensated with the insurance money it took to target them, which in some cases come up to fucking billions. And there are a lot of TIs out there. So best case scenario is that you're looking at inflation. You're looking at the economy possibly collapsing because of that. And, you know, the hyperinflation now, like right now, money is worth about 98% less than it used to. So imagine if gang stalking victims were fully compensated with the insurance money that was put out on them. That money would not last long. Okay, that money would not last long, which means that the therapy that we would need, the rehabilitation that we would need after all that torture, it's not likely to come. And we're not likely to fund it ourselves, which means we'd be right back to square one if we won. Right? And not only would we be back to square one, it would affect everybody else's economy as well. So that's the best case scenario that I can think of right now. Second case scenario is this. Specific targeted individuals would be compensated, acknowledged, given like a small amount of money, like 5,000, 10,000, like with Jane Clift. Select few targeted individuals would be given thousands of pounds in exchange for never bringing it up again, which means that a lot of other TIs, a lot of people selected for targeting, would possibly still be in their situation and not be freed from their situation. Number two is the most likely and is exactly what's going on right now. Then we have number three. Gang stalking ends with not the targeted individuals being compensated for the loss of their livelihoods and the loss of their jobs and the loss of their minds, but it would be the defense companies, the creative intelligence companies, the surveillance technology companies, AI companies, all of that. Instead of the people suffering that would be compensated, it would be the people causing the suffering that would be compensated. That's the most likely scenario. And that same scenario has played out with slavery. There's been reparations paid, all right, but most of it went to the fucking slavers. And it will be the same with TIs and even perps, especially perps that walk away and become TIs like us. They're not getting compensated. It's going to be the people that paid them to do it the companies that paid them to do it, that will most likely be compensated. So those are 3 scenarios that will happen when TIs really start to rise up and fight for our justice. Those are the 3 scenarios that we're looking at. And my thing is this: whilst we want to expose gang stalking and whilst we want it to end, have we really thought about what happens when gang stalking ends? Have we prepared properly for what could happen if we get what we want? Have we prepared for that? Are we prepared for the resentment towards us when we get what we want? Because the truth of the matter is, humanity, when they awaken and find out the truth about what's been going on, it's not the people who have caused the harm that bear the brunt of everything. It's usually the people that were right all along and told the truth all along that keep being messed with. I know, because that's what's happening to me. That's what's happening to several other TIs right now. That is the nature of humanity. Are we prepared for the resentment? Are we prepared to struggle in new ways after the old ways are done? Are we prepared for the fact that if we don't fight, that it's not going to end in our lifetime? And are we prepared for the fight to be relatively dirty? Are we prepared for that? With our broken and sick bodies, are we really prepared for the high risk, for the high risk that might not come with a high reward, might not come with a reward at all? Are we prepared for that? Are we really prepared for that? So many people think about what they want. They don't think about how they're going to get it and how things are going to transpire when they do get what they want. Now, me and my neurotic self, it's something that I think about all the time. And of course, just like everything, I took that shit too far. What happens when I get what I want and I become this, that, and the third? And my mind becomes so consumed with it, I go backwards, go in the other direction. I'm not suggesting that you do that, but I am suggesting that you have a plan and that you discuss it with each other. That you prepare for what happens when you win. That you prepare for what happens when there are people who have to make certain sacrifices to make sure that gang stalking ends and that justice is done and that people stop being trafficked. The brutal reality is that the reason why we're not even worse off than we are right now globally, the reason why we're not worse off than we are right now, especially in privileged countries, is because of fucking trafficking. So if all that ends, if all the trafficking ends, if all the abuse ends, what are we going to replace it with? I'm not going to get credit for anything that I've said here. I don't fucking care. What I fucking care about is that somebody with strength, with health, with the mindset, and with the tools are thinking about these questions. That's what the fuck I care about. That the people with the tools are thinking about the questions that I'm putting forward right now. That people with the will to end gang stalking and to make sure true justice is done. To make sure vulnerable people can live their lives and they're not so vulnerable anymore. I want somebody with the strength, health, and will to do the right thing, to think about these questions, not so that they can turn away from doing the right thing, but so that they can make sure that the right path, the good path, is not just emotionally viable or spiritually viable, but also physically viable and materially viable as well. That's what I want. So this is a question that I want to leave my fellow TIs with. Those of you with solutions, those of you with a brain. What happens when we win? That's the first question. The second question is, what are you prepared to do to win? The third question is, do you even want to win? And the fourth question is, you know, do you have a plan? I think that's the 1 and 4 saying. Do you have a plan? Do you have a plan at all? And are you acting on those plans? Because I've learned throughout my life, it's one thing to be right. I've had so many people in my family, among my so-called friends, among my, you know, my true friends, some of them, that, you know, they've been so right in everything that they've said, and they continue to fuck up because they don't know how to do what's right. They have the right idea but the wrong approach, because what's right is not what they actually want. They don't want what's right, just like a lot of us TIs don't seem to want what's right either. And I have to include myself in that. I've got to include myself in that. Because you do what it takes. I'm not prepared to do what it takes. There are certain things I'm not prepared to do to end this shit. There are certain levels I'm not prepared to go down. And it's okay, I own that. So I'm asking these questions for the people who are prepared to own that, who are prepared to end gang stalking, and who are prepared to build a new world from the end of it, rather than leaving that justice in the hands of people who only want to make more money. I'm leaving these questions for people who do want to be leaders, who do want to lead the charge. That's who these questions are for. I wanted to be validated. I got that. I wanted to know other TIs. I got that. I wanted to know that all the pain that I went through, that there was a reason for it. I got that. I wanted love. Fuck, I even got that. I wanted to love myself. Got that too. End of story. All the things that I truly wanted, I got it. And I'm still getting what I truly want. I'm leaving this question to future leaders who want to make an impact in the world. What are you prepared to do? And what happens when TIs actually get what we want? And now I gotta go. If you've made it to the end of this video, please let me know how you guys are doing. But yeah, these are questions that have needed to be asked for a long time. And also, the frequency jammers, they work. But the problem is that when there are frequency jammers messing up the LRADs, the long range acoustic devices, they are replaced with stronger weapons. That's another eventuality that we have to come across. That's another thing we have to prepare for. And when those stronger weapons come in, people will die. And they have been fucking dying. I'm sure of it. So yeah. Yeah. If you really want to win as a TI, if we really want to win as TIs, what are we prepared to sacrifice? And if we do get what we want, what are we going to replace our pain and our genocide with? Take care, my fellow TIs. Peace and blessings. Bye-bye. We just got to wait for this thing to move. Bye.